A struggling Nigerian translator got trapped in an elevator with Korea's most feared CEO. What happened in those dark hours would change both their lives forever. This is a story of unexpected connection, brutal judgment, and love that refused to stay hidden. Adanna's fingers ached from typing. She had been translating Korean business documents into English for 12 hours straight, squinting at her computer screen in the tiny basement office of Seoul Corporation. Her visa was expiring in 2 months. Her translation contract paid barely enough for rent. And today, she'd made a mistake, a small one, but enough for her supervisor to yell at her in front of everyone. "You need to work faster," he'd said in Korean, not caring that the other translators stared. "Or we'll find someone who can." Adanna had bowed, said, "I'm sorry," and kept working. She was the only African translator in the building. The only one whose mistakes were announced publicly. At 11 p.m., the office was finally empty. Adanna gathered her things, exhausted. Her small apartment was 40 minutes away by subway, but at least there she could collapse. She pressed the elevator button, praying it would be empty. When the doors opened, her heart sank. Inside stood Yoon Jae-sung, the CEO of Seoul Corporation. The man everyone called the Ice King. He was tall, sharp-featured, wearing a perfectly pressed suit despite the late hour. His reputation was legendary, brilliant, ruthless, impossible to please. People said he'd fired his own cousin for being 5 minutes late to a meeting. Adanna hesitated. Should she wait for the next elevator? But Jae-sung had already seen her. He gave a slight nod, neither friendly nor hostile, just acknowledging her existence. She stepped inside, pressing herself against the far corner. The doors closed. Silence filled the small space. Adanna focused on the floor numbers descending. 15, 14, 13. Then everything went dark. The elevator jolted to a stop. Emergency lights flickered on, casting everything in dim red. Adanna's stomach dropped. "Power outage," Jae-sung said calmly, pressing the emergency button. Nothing happened. Adanna's breathing quickened. The walls suddenly felt too close. The ceiling too low. The air too thin. "Are you all right?" His voice cut through her panic. "I'm fine," she lied, but her voice shook. She wasn't fine. She was terrified. Enclosed spaces in the dark, ever since the fire in her Lagos apartment building 3 years ago, when she'd been trapped in a stairwell for hours, smoke filling her lungs, she couldn't handle it. Her chest tightened. Her hands trembled. She pressed them against the wall, trying to ground herself. "You're having a panic attack," Jae-sung said. Not a question. A statement. Adanna couldn't answer. She was trying desperately not to cry in front of the CEO. "Look at me." His voice was firmer now. "Adanna, look at me." She jerked her head up. How did he know her name? Jae-sung had moved closer, not crowding her, but close enough. "Breathe with me. In for 4 counts." He breathed in slowly, visibly. Adanna tried to follow. "Hold for 4." She held her breath, shaking. "Out for 4." She exhaled shakily. They did this together. Again. 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 Until Adanna's heart slowed from a gallop to a canter. "Better?" he asked. She nodded, embarrassed. "I'm sorry. I don't usually." "Don't apologize." His voice was surprisingly gentle. "Panic attacks aren't weakness." Adanna wiped her eyes quickly. "Thank you, sir." "Jae-sung," he corrected. "We're stuck in an elevator together." Formality seems excessive. Despite everything, Adanna almost smiled. "How do you know my name?" she asked. "I read all the personnel files," he said. Adanna Okonkwo. Nigerian. Linguistics degree from University of Lagos. "You've been with us for 18 months. Your translations are consistently excellent, despite what your supervisor says." Adanna's breath caught. He noticed her work? "He yelled at you today," Jae-sung continued. "For a minor error that wasn't actually an error. You translated as to pursue, when he wanted to promote. Both are correct depending on context. You chose the right one." You saw that?" "I see everything in my company." He leaned against the wall. "Your supervisor is incompetent. I've been looking for a reason to replace him." Adanna didn't know what to say. They fell into silence again, but it felt different now. Less awkward. More companionable. Why did you come to Korea? Jae-sung asked suddenly. Better opportunities, Adanna said. Nigeria is home, but the job market for linguists is limited. Korea offered a chance to grow. And has it? Offered growth. Adanna hesitated. Sometimes. When people see past my skin color. Jae-sung was quiet for a moment. I'm sorry you experienced that. Are you? The words slipped out before she could stop them. He looked at her, something unreadable in his eyes. Yes, I am. The elevator suddenly hummed back to life. Lights flickered on. The car lurched downward. When the doors opened to the lobby, Adanna stepped out quickly, relieved but also strangely disappointed. Adanna, Jae-sung said before the doors could close. She turned back. Thank you, he said. For being honest with me. The doors closed before she could respond. The next morning, Adanna arrived to find her desk moved. Not just moved, relocated to the executive floor. What's happening? She asked the facilities manager. CEO's orders, he said with a shrug. You're the new executive translator. Report directly to him. Adanna felt her stomach flip. But congratulations. Your salary tripled. The news spread through the office like wildfire. By lunch, everyone was whispering. Why her? What did she do? Did something happen? Adanna tried to focus on work, but the stares were suffocating. At 3 p.m., her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Come to my office. YJS. Her hands shook as she rode the elevator, the same elevator from last night, to the top floor. Jae-sung's office was massive. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked Seoul. Everything was sleek, modern, intimidating. He sat behind his desk, reviewing documents. When she entered, he looked up. Closed the door. She did, heart pounding. You're wondering why I promoted you, he said. Yes, sir. Because you're the best translator in this building, and you were being wasted in that basement. He set down his pen. And, because after last night, I realized I want someone around me who doesn't pretend everything is fine when it isn't. Adanna blinked. Sir, everyone here lies to me, he said bluntly. They say what they think I want to hear. You didn't. Even in a panic attack, you were honest. I don't understand. Jae-sung stood, walking to the window. I built this company from nothing. My father said I'd fail. My business partners tried to steal my ideas. Every person I've trusted has wanted something from me. He turned to face her. Last night, you just wanted to breathe. That was refreshing. Adanna didn't know how to respond. I need an executive translator, he continued. Someone who can handle international meetings, investor calls, contract negotiations. Someone I can trust to be honest. Will you do it? She should say yes immediately. This was the opportunity she'd dreamed of. But something made her ask, why do you really want me in this role? Jae-sung smiled, a real smile, small but genuine. Because you just asked that question. Working directly for Jae-sung was intense. He was demanding, precise, expected excellence. But he was also fair. He never yelled. Never belittled. When Adanna made mistakes, and she did, he corrected her calmly, explained why, and moved on. More surprisingly, he asked her opinion. About translations, yes, but also about business strategies, cultural differences, market approaches. You see things others don't, he told her one evening as they worked late. You understand how language shapes thinking. That's valuable. Adanna felt seen in a way she'd never experienced. They fell into a rhythm. Early mornings reviewing contracts. Afternoon meetings where she translated in real time. Late evenings discussing the day's challenges. And somewhere in those long hours, something shifted. Adanna noticed small things. How Jae-sung's voice softened when he spoke to her. How he remembered she preferred tea to coffee. How he made sure she ate lunch, even when he skipped his own. She told herself it meant nothing. He was her boss. She was his employee. That was all. But then came the night everything changed. It was 10 p.m. They were alone in his office, reviewing a contract that needed to be finalized by morning. Adanna's eyes were tired, her shoulders tight from tension. Take a break, Jae-sung said. I'm fine. Adanna. He used the same firm tone from the elevator. Break. She set down her pen, rubbing her eyes. Why do you work so hard? He asked suddenly. Because I have to, she said. My visa depends on this job. If I lose it, I go home. Would that be so terrible? Going home? Adanna thought about Lagos. Her family. The familiar chaos and warmth. No, but I'm not ready yet. I still have things to prove. To whom? To myself. She looked at him. You understand that, don't you? Building something that's entirely yours. Jae-sung nodded slowly. Yes, I understand. Their eyes met, and Adanna felt something electric pass between them. Adanna, he said quietly, I need to tell you something. Before he could continue, his office door burst open. His secretary, looking panicked, rushed in with a tablet. Sir, there's a problem. Jae-sung took the tablet, his expression darkening. What is this? Adanna couldn't see the screen, but she saw his jaw tighten. Someone leaked photos, the secretary said nervously. From the security cameras. Jae-sung turned the tablet toward Adanna. Her blood ran cold. The screen showed images from the elevator that night. Her in the corner, clearly distressed. Jae-sung close to her, hand near her shoulder. In the dim red emergency lighting, it looked intimate. Inappropriate. The caption read, CEO Yoon Jae-sung caught in compromising position with foreign employee. What really happened in that elevator? Adanna felt the world tilt. Who released this? Jae-sung's voice was ice. It's already on 3 news sites and spreading on social media, the secretary said. Adanna stood on shaky legs. I should go. No. Jae-sung's voice was firm. This isn't your fault. Sir, my being here will make it worse. I said no. He looked at his secretary. Call legal. I want to know who leaked this, and I want them destroyed. After the secretary left, Jae-sung turned to Adanna. Her face had gone pale. They'll say I used you to get this position, she whispered. They'll say I manipulated you. Let them. You don't understand. I'm already the outsider here. The foreign girl. Now they'll have proof I don't belong. You belong here because you earned it. That's not how they'll see it. Her voice cracked. In their eyes, I'm just another African woman trying to use a Korean man for status. The ugly words hung in the air. Jae-sung stepped closer. Then we prove them wrong. How? By telling the truth. The truth? Adanna laughed bitterly. The truth is that you helped me through a panic attack. But they've already decided what they want to believe. Then we change their minds. Before Adanna could respond, her phone exploded with notifications. Messages from colleagues. Strangers. People she'd never met. Gold digger. Go back to your country. You're embarrassing yourself. Tears stung her eyes. Jae-sung gently took the phone from her hands and turned it off. Look at me, he said. She did, vision blurry with tears. I'm going to fix this, he said firmly. I promise you. You can't fix racism. You can't fix people who've already decided I'm nothing. Maybe not. But I can make sure they know exactly who you are to me. Adanna's breath caught. What do you mean? Jae-sung looked at her with an intensity that made her heart stop. I mean that elevator wasn't the beginning. It was when I stopped pretending I didn't notice you. Jae-sung. I've noticed you since your first week here. The way you translate with such care. The way you stand up straight even when people talk down to you. The way you've built a life in a country that doesn't always welcome you. His voice dropped lower. The way you made me feel human again. Adanna felt tears spill over. You're my boss. I know. This will destroy my career. Not if I have anything to say about it. Your family will never accept me. My family lost the right to my obedience when they tried to control every aspect of my life. Adanna shook her head, overwhelmed. This is crazy. Maybe. He reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away. She didn't. His hand cupped her cheek gently. But that elevator taught me something. Life is too short to pretend you don't feel what you feel. What do you feel? She whispered. That I haven't been able to stop thinking about you since that night. That every time you walk into a room, everything gets quieter. That when you smile, which you don't do nearly enough, it feels like the sun coming out. Adanna's heart was breaking and healing at the same time. I'm scared. Me too. The whole world is going to judge us. Let them. His thumb brushed away her tears. I'd rather face their judgment with you than face another day alone. Adanna closed her eyes, leaning into his touch. This is going to be so hard. I know. People will say terrible things. I know. Your company is mine. And I decide who matters in my life. Adanna opened her eyes, looking into his. You really mean this? Every word. She took a shaky breath. Then yes. Whatever this is, whatever comes next, yes. Jae-sung's expression softened completely. He pulled her into his arms, holding her carefully, like she was something precious. We'll face it together, he murmured into her hair. Adanna held on to him, feeling safe for the first time since the scandal broke. But outside that office, the storm was just beginning. By morning, the story had exploded. News outlets, blogs, social media, everyone had an opinion. CEO's African mistress scandal. Foreign worker seduces boss for promotion. Hanul Corporation in crisis over inappropriate relationship. Adanna couldn't leave her apartment without being swarmed by cameras. She stopped checking social media after reading 50 messages telling her to die. Jae-sung called every hour. Stay inside. Let me handle this. How are you going to handle this? Trust me. 3 days later, Jae-sung called a press conference. Adanna watched from her apartment, heart in her throat. He stood at a podium, facing dozens of cameras and reporters. His expression was calm, but Adanna could see the tension in his jaw. I'm here to address the photos that surfaced, he began. And to clarify what actually happened. Cameras flashed wildly. Ms. Okonkwo and I were in that elevator during a power outage. She experienced a panic attack, a medical condition. I helped her through it. That's all. But why promote her afterward? A reporter shouted. Because she's the most qualified translator in my company. Her promotion was based entirely on merit. People are saying she manipulated you. People are wrong. His voice hardened. Ms. Okonkwo has faced discrimination since joining Hanul Corporation. She's been underpaid, undervalued, and treated as less than because of her nationality. The only manipulation happening here is the media twisting a medical emergency into something sordid. Are you in a relationship with her? The room went silent. Jae-sung took a breath. When he spoke again, his voice was different. Softer. More personal. Ms. Okonkwo is someone I respect deeply. Someone I admire. Someone who has shown me what integrity looks like. He paused. And yes, someone I care about. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Are you saying you're dating your employee? I'm saying that what happens between Ms. Okonkwo and me is our business. But I will not stand by while she's destroyed for something she didn't do. He looked directly into the cameras. Adanna Okonkwo is one of the strongest, most capable people I've ever met. If you want to judge someone, judge me for taking so long to recognize her worth. But leave her alone. Adanna's tears fell freely as she watched. He'd just put his reputation, his company, everything on the line. For her. Her phone rang. It was him. Did you see? He asked. Yes. Are you okay? You just told the entire country you care about me. I know. Is that all right? Adanna laughed through her tears. You're insane. Probably. Will you come to my office? We need to talk about what happens next. What has happened next? Whatever we want. But I'd prefer to figure it out together. Adanna looked at her reflection in the window. Her eyes were red from crying, her hair a mess. The whole world thought she was a scandal. But Yoon Jae-sung had stood in front of cameras and defended her. Had claimed her. Had chosen her. I'll be there in 30 minutes, she said. I'll be waiting. The next weeks were brutal. Adanna faced harassment online and in person. Someone threw coffee at her on the street. Her apartment building received complaints about her presence. But Jae-sung was there. Every day. Every moment. He hired security for her. Threatened legal action against anyone who harassed her. Made it clear that attacking Adanna meant making an enemy of him. Slowly, the narrative began to shift. International news picked up the story, not as a scandal, but as a Korean CEO challenging racism in corporate culture. Adanna received messages of support from African communities across Korea. Other foreign workers spoke up about their own experiences. The tide was turning. 3 months later, Adanna stood in Jae-sung's office, the same office where everything had changed. But this time, she wasn't afraid. "Your visa extension was approved," Jae-sung said, handing her the document. Adanna exhaled in relief. "Thank you." "Don't thank me. You earned it." He moved around the desk. "But I do have another question." "What?" He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box. Adanna's heart stopped. "I know it's complicated," he said. "I know the world will judge us. I know my family will be difficult." "Your mother still hasn't spoken to me," Adanna interrupted. "She will. Eventually. She's stubborn, but she's not cruel." He opened the box. Inside was a simple gold ring. "I'm not asking you to marry me today, but I am asking if you'll consider building a future with me." Tears filled Adanna's eyes. "You're really asking this? After everything?" "Because of everything. The elevator. The scandal. The way you never gave up. The way you made me remember what it feels like to be human." He took her hand. "I want to spend my life with someone who makes me better." "That's you, Adanna." She looked at the ring, then at him. "Your family will learn to accept us. Or they won't. But I refuse to spend my life making decisions based on fear. The company is thriving. Turns out honesty is good for business." Adanna laughed wetly. "What about when it gets hard? Then we'll handle it together. Just like the elevator." She remembered that night. The darkness. The fear. His steady voice guiding her through panic. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes. Yes, I want to build a future with you. Yes to the ring. Yes to whatever comes next." Jae-sung's smile was the most beautiful thing she'd ever seen. He slipped the ring onto her finger, then pulled her into his arms. "Thank you for getting stuck in that elevator with me," he murmured. Adanna laughed. "Best panic attack of my life." They stood together, looking out over Seoul, a city that had challenged them, judged them, but ultimately became the place where they found each other. 2 years later, Adanna stood beside Jae-sung at a corporate event. She wore a stunning dress that blended Nigerian and Korean design elements, Ankara fabric with traditional hanbok silhouette. People no longer whispered when they walked in. Instead, they nodded respectfully. Adanna had become the company's director of international relations. She'd implemented diversity training across all departments. The basement translator office was now on the same floor as everyone else. Jae-sung's mother had eventually come around. It took time, many awkward dinners, and one memorable moment when Adanna stood up to her in Igbo, which Jae-sung's sister secretly translated. But respect had been earned on both sides. "Ready?" Jae-sung asked, taking her hand. "For what? To face another room of people who'll judge us?" Adanna squeezed his hand. "As long as we're together, I can face anything." They walked into the ballroom side by side, no longer a scandal, but a team. Proof that love could survive darkness, judgment, and fear. Because sometimes the best things in life start with being trapped in an elevator with exactly the right person. If you enjoyed this story of unexpected love, courage, and choosing each other despite the odds, please like, share, and subscribe for more incredible tales.